I have a short presentation for you tonight. We're going to play a fun game. I thought to have some work at our tables. And then I will share a bit about, talking about politics. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to share some things that are near and dear to me, some values that have helped me along my journey of farming and co-founding the Do More Ag Foundation, starting a snack food company, and really just trying to share my love of farming and agriculture to those in and outside of the industry. So with that, just a little bit of reflection, just to think of, one thing that you would like to do this year, to incorporate. My presentation is all about do what you can't, and I've been able to do the things that I've done because I couldn't do them before. So think of maybe one thing that you'd like to do over the course of this year. For me, we lost an employee on the farm. So my husband he keeps poking me to get on the drill. And I'm not very equipment or mechanically inclined. But maybe that's something that maybe for an hour or two, learn the drill. I'm more in my comfort zone of rock picking and being on the combine, but that is on my wish list for this year. So think of something, one thing that you always wanted to do but felt like you couldn't. So I'm Lesley Kelly. Just like with my introduction, I farm with my family at Watrous, so in between Saskatoon and Regina. But I never thought that I would be a farmer. My aspirations when I was growing up were sports, and then I wanted to be, has anyone watched Mad Men? Show about 10, 15 years ago. Don Draper. Did anyone know Mad Men? Don Draper? Yeah, okay, we got a couple. Okay, I wanted to be like him, and I got the opportunity to do what he was doing, be a creative director. I had the opportunity to work at ATB Financial here in Alberta, in Edmonton, and we lived in Kalmar, and then I went to FCC, so in-house ad agencies. I was a marketing professional, but then my life took some pivots. And now I farm with my brother and my husband on our grain farm. And I've been doing that full time for about 5 years. But before that, I got to create a snack food company using the barley grown on our farm. And then having conversations with people at trade shows and at events. Sometimes some individuals had never met a farmer. So when we were selling our snack food, they had lots of questions. And it was a time where I didn't have really good answers. I didn't know how to share and advocate for agriculture. So I was in the hot seat a lot, and I thought, well, maybe if I could share my story to those outside of farming and be a place where people could go somewhere and ask questions. So I started High Heels and Canola Fields online. I've been doing that for about 10 years. And then that led me into talking to lots of farmers across Canada and the US and hearing their struggles and their challenges, and knowing my family was facing some hard times, so myself and a few others then started Do More Ag. So I've had some pivots and turns and things that I never thought I would be able to do, but so glad that I have. And with that, so a little bit about me. Now, let's talk or dive into a game, some trivia. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat for a few moments, all about agriculture or industry and what we do every day. And the questions are about the industry and why what we do really matters. So at your table, so we're going to set this up. Does anyone, we're going to make it really competitive. I don't have any prizes other than maybe my glass of wine. But so for how the game is set up, it's multiple choice. And you'll have to, as a table, decide your best answer. So you got to work together. Those on a date, you have to work together. You have to work together, find an answer, and then even better, you have to place a bet on your answer. So if you're feeling really good about your answer, you might want to bet more. But if you're not too sure, maybe you'll go lower. And the number is how much you bet is totally up to you. And, do I have a question? No, I'm sorry. I'm a farmer. I don't have much money, so I can't give you money if you win. So no dollar. It's just points. It's just points. So what's that? Yeah, just points. Just points. I'm sorry I didn't bring any extra money with me. I do have some toonies in my wallet though. But okay, so think of your points. And I've been at events where the points have been quite aggressive, I would say. So some of the points have been like 1 million, just to give you an idea. So some people were feeling very confident in their answers. So you might go risk adverse, or you might go higher, just depending on your mood. Okay? You ready? Oh, I like this. We're ready. Okay, so the first question, maybe we'll do this. This one is just a trial, okay, just to see how we're feeling. Okay? So the first question. According to the Harvard Business Review, what % of an employee's level of engagement has been found to be influenced by their manager? So you as a leader in your operation, business, farm, what level of engagement can be influenced by the manager of that employee? Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes. Work at your table. And then once you have your answer, then think of the points that you'll allocate for this. Do we have our answers? Raise your hand if your table has an answer. Okay, I'll give you about half. I would say maybe 3/4. Okay, so 1 more minute. Okay, so this is kind of a mix, except you guys don't like the 60%. Okay, and let's talk points. How many points did you guys bet? 3 trillion. Now we're talking. He's my favorite right now. 3 trillion. I forgot to mention that if you get it wrong, you go down that many. This is practice. But if you get it wrong, you go the opposite. 3 trillion at the back. I love this game, depending on if you win or you lose. Like, oh, or yeah. Okay, so who got that one right? Okay, nice job. Good practice. Do we get the hang of it now? Okay. I have about 10 of these, so allocate your points depending on how confident you are. According to the Entrepreneur magazine, what % of employees who feel valued are motivated to do great work? We're going deep. So if your employees are motivated or they feel valued, what % are they motivated to do great work? Okay, I'll give you about 3 minutes. Decide the answer and then your points. How many are down by 3 or 4 trillion now? Who's in the red? We got a few tables in the red. Okay, well, you can make it up this next one. Okay, next question. So 93% of employees who feel valued are motivated. That's a big number. Next one. What is the number one reason why employees leave a position or a job? Lack of recognition, pay, poor manager performance, or no growth opportunities? Here's the answer. Yeah, whoever got that one right are in the bank. Okay, well, this is interesting. A lot of you said lack of recognition versus, the poor manager performance. These are all reasons, but more people said the poor manager performance. That's why that was there. But we still like to feel like we're valued and that we matter. But as leaders in our farms and operations, to keep employees feeling motivated and keep them feeling valued, it's strictly tied to how we lead. So keep that close to you. And know that lack of recognition, or recognition does matter, but it's more tied to our manager performance. Okay, so who's in the hole? A lot of you are in the hole. Okay, I feel like we'll coast after those were hard ones. I feel like we're on the uphill now. So this question, what percentage of Canadian farms are now managed by women? You guys are getting quiet. Okay, do you guys have your answers? Hands up. Who's confident with their answer? Oh, okay, we got a few tables. Nice. This one's harder because the degree of error is quite small. Yay! It's not true. It's not true. So a little bit more behind this number has gotten larger as they've done this. So I think in 2016, it was around the 26%. So there's becoming more and more farm managers. And this table had questions like, how do you define a farm manager? And I would say the person that would be in a decision-making role. That's how you would define that one. But probably there's more of you in the red right now based on that one, hey? Okay. Maybe this one might be a little bit easier for you. So this question now. So now you know that 30% of women manage farms. How many women are represented on a national and provincial agriculture association? So this would be at the board director level. Sorry, this one is 2021. I think it's the last one that they've done with this one. I don't think there is a 2025. Does everyone have their answer except this table? So the 12%, who got the 12%? A few of you. There was a few tables. Excellent. You guys, these two tables did not get this answer right? You guys got it right. Okay, so they're in the lead. How much did you guys lose? 5 trillion. They lost 5 trillion. But interesting. Did anyone find the 12% interesting? Does anyone here, any of the women are represented on boards? Okay, so that's our 12% right there. So thank you so much for all your hard work, because you're away from your families, you're away from your farm. But 30% of us manage the farm, yet 12% of us are represented on boards. So there is a gap in our industry of women being represented on as a voice in our industry. Lots of work still yet to do there. So moving on, according to the Center for Food Integrity, so now we're going into public trust, and because we're only 2% of us that farm compared to the general population who might not know about farming. So according to the Center for Food Integrity, what percentage of Canadians believe the food system is on the right track? And this is their last study that they did, so that would have been last year. So post-COVID, last year, it could be GMOs, animal care, affordability, climate change, that we're on the right track. Does everyone have their answer? We're on the right track? Who got that one right? So even though I wanted it to be the 75%, unfortunately, this number isn't a very good number. We're only 31%. So the average general consumer feels like 31% of the time we're only on the right track. And unfortunately, this number has declined over the past few years that the Canadian Centre for Food Integrity has been tracking. I won't tell you why, because that leads me into one of the next questions. But just note that hopefully we can change this number and get it to the 60 and 75%, because that would make me feel really good, that people feel we're doing good things. And we are doing good things. Okay, so they don't feel we're going in the right direction. And why is that? So this question is, according to the CCAFI, so the Canadian Centre for Food Integrity again, what issue do Canadian consumers rank as the most significant concern when it comes to agriculture and food production? This is just last year, and this is both. So they've asked Canadians. So they feel, so more of them feel we're not on the right direction, and why is that? What is their biggest concern with why we're not going in the right direction? Is everyone done? Got their answer? Woo! Now, are we in the black now, most of the room? Yes! Yeah! So we all know, we've all felt inflation. Even though we don't have control over inflation, it's interesting that that consumers are tying food affordability and inflation to if we're on the right track or not. So even something that's out of our control, that we're trying so hard to do, we are the most efficient we've ever been. We take care of all of our resources, but yet, unfortunately, consumers see it in a different light because their impact, what they see is the price tag. So something to note, that there is a disconnect there, and us as an industry to try to share more about where or how the food costs come to be and help make food affordability by doing what we do. Okay, we're on the home stretch here. So if you're going big, I think we've got 2 or 3 more questions. Okay, according to the Centre for Food Integrity again, what is a key factor driving consumer skepticism toward Canadians' food industry? The rising food prices, lack of communication about agriculture, excessive food production, or declining number of farms? What's a key factor? Do we have your answers? So they are, this last study for the Centre for Food Integrity showed a lot of interesting data that they are really feeling the costs of food. Whether that's their biggest concern and their biggest, I would say, feel that there isn't enough transparency. They're skeptic about it. So they're definitely feeling it. Okay, a Canadian farm feeds approximately how many people annually, every year, according to AFC? So this would be an average farm, and I don't know. So I can't give you an acre base. This would be across Canada. So this is just a general average number. Knowing that there are bigger acreages, farms out west than maybe out in Ontario, but across the board, if you were to average it out, how many people would we feed? Do we have our answer? So this number is on a higher trend. We're in the black. How many got that question right? That was about 60% of us. That's good. So that's something to be very proud of. I'm proud that, on our farm, we feed more. I'm assuming like in Western Canada, this number is much higher. But if you were to take an average farm across coast to coast, this is what it would be. And it's on the rise. So that's a great trend to see. Okay, so this is go big or go home. Who's in the red? Your chance to get out of the red. Anyone in the red? Got a couple tables? One table? Okay, so according to me, What unique strengths do farmers bring to the industry, communities, and the world that make them vital to our future? This is according to me. This is me, according to me. Well, it could be you too, and I hope that we would come to the same conclusion. But sneaky. So you guys have the chance to get out of the red. Of course, because farmers are essential to a thriving and resilient world. What we do matters. We feed so many people across Canada and across the world. What we do within the industry, on boards, within our communities, it all matters. What we do matters every single day. So thank you so much. Thank you for playing that game. I hope that you took a nugget or two out of that, learned something. There were some things that I was like, oh, that was surprising. And I've tweaked the questions as I've done this game with a variety of audiences, but I hope you took out a couple nuggets from that. And there are gaps in our industry, but hopefully with the general notion of the great track that we are on, doing some really amazing things, that those gaps reduce. And we keep... now I'll just go in briefly to a little bit about the things. Based on those questions, what we do matters, and it has a great impact to our communities and our industry and the world. And the things that I've learned along the way, some lessons that, or even values that I've learned from other farmers, from my family, from those in our industry, that I hold dear to me as I've gone through my career in agriculture. So, question for you: how many times have you been told, or someone has shared this with you? You know, you have to keep your head down and follow the rules. This is the way we've always done it. Or do as you're told, play it safe, wait your turn, ask permission. You know, follow the rules, be in the box, sit down and be quiet. You can't start this charity. You don't have any experience. You can't create your own snack food. You've never done that before. You don't have any knowledge or experience in that. You're not a writer or a podcaster. You can't do that. You can't. Anyone gotten that advice before? No such word as can't. Exactly. Because in my motto is do what you can't because you can. Because this is what I've learned. You do the things that you can't when people tell you that you can't, because you actually can. So I've shared some of there's images here, some people that have made such a fantastic impact on me. The first one on the left is Sherry Lynn Nagel from Saskatchewan, farmer in the south. She got an opportunity to share more about agriculture through Barbie, through Mattel. They came to her farm, and a little girl who wanted to be a farmer, and they made that happen. So great impact on me. Patty Duran just wrote a book about farm transitions. She helped my family. She came into my family on the communication side to help start conversations, break down barriers at our kitchen table, and made such a positive impact on us. Chris Cook, he's from Alberta, farmer. People said, well, you can't drive a piece of equipment. You don't have any arms or legs. And he said, well, watch me. And he has such an inspirational message, and love watching him go across the world on a skateboard and share all about his journey. Rob Sharkey, he goes by Shark Farmer. Him and his wife, they live in Illinois. I got to be a podcaster with him for a couple years. We did that through, it was called What the Farm, where we got to interview people across the industry in Canada and the US and hear their stories. And that was an incredible time. I learned so much. And he built a media company. He's a farmer. But now he's on TV, RFD TV, XM radio, does these incredible things of highlighting people in agriculture. And then the tulips. They are pilots and they are farmers out in Manitoba, and they share an incredible message of being able to do things that you can be, doesn't matter what gender, your background, that you can do these incredible things. So some of these people have taught me that you can create a team around you and start a not-for-profit. You can ask lots of questions from experts and start a snack food company. You can be passionate and get involved. You can farm and you can sit at the table. So I'll share some leadership lessons that I've learned. The first one that I've learned that has helped me in my journey is be yourself. You're not defined by anybody's definition of you other than yourself. Be your best version. And I share this photo. So this photo was taken 5-6 years ago when I got a call in an afternoon, and it was from Bell Let's Talk. So Bell phoned and they said, we would really love to highlight agriculture as part of our mental health campaign. This is when they moved from the celebrities like Howie Mandel. They're like, we really would like to focus on real people, and we heard your story, and we would love to share more about agriculture. And I thought, well, that's a great opportunity to share to those that might not know about farming more of our farm stress, our struggles, the day in the life. So I flew out to Montreal, and being a marketer, I'd had some idea of what a video shoot and a photo shoot was, but I was always behind the scene. I was never in front. And they said my instructions were wake up at 4 a.m., and we'll have a driver there, we'll pick you up, and we'll take you out to a farm. So I woke up, all I had to do was brush my teeth. And I got to this little farm outside of Montreal. I sat down in the makeup chair, and she said, well, how do you do your makeup? I said, well, it's very, very plain, just a little bit of blush so I can have some color. I'm from Saskatchewan, don't see the sun much in winter. And then she did my makeup, and then I went to the hair chair. And the guy asked me, he's like, well, how do you wear your hair on the farm? I said, well, I would really love a blowout because I want to look good for this video shoot and photo shoot. So he said, absolutely, yeah, let's do a blowout. So he did the blowout, and I felt like I was $1 million. I was like, woo, look at I'm feeling good. And they said, okay, just wait a second, and we'll be right back. So as I was in the chair, I was feeling like $1 million. I saw them go back, and their creative team was huddling, and then they were pointing, and I thought, oh no. So they came back. They said, well, come back to the hair chair, and we'll just make a few changes. So they put my hair, I can't even describe it. They patted it down, and then they did this low half ponytail, but I had all my flyaways out, and I thought maybe they're just trying to tame it down. And so he did that, and I was like, this doesn't look very good. And then he said, go to wardrobe. So I thought, okay, well, went to wardrobe, and my mouth dropped then, because these individuals, so I was talking to people from Toronto and Montreal, downtown Montreal and Toronto, and guess what they had in line for my wardrobe? Yes. So I wear coveralls and overalls on the farm, and that might be your thing, but this campaign is about being you and sharing your story and you. And I looked, and then I started to cry. And they're like, well, why are you so upset? I was like, this isn't me. This is not what I wear. And they said, well, what do you have? And I said, well, I brought some bunny hugs. And they said, well, what are bunny hugs? But anyways, they didn't like what I brought. And so what we compromised on, and I said, this isn't how I wear my hair. I just don't feel very good. And I was at the point where I thought I was very worried as to how I was representing our industry. Because here's an opportunity for us to go in front of millions of people, and I was the farmer, and I was upset that if I put on something that wasn't me, that I wasn't sharing what a farmer, as Lesley Kelly farmer, was like. And the chair was there, so she came up and asked, like, what can we do? And I said, well, I don't know what my options are. So this is what we compromised on. And the bunny hug is actually one of the photographers. So he took this off and he said, okay, we've got to dirty it up. So we ended up stomping on it to make it dirty, and it was an extra large. But I understand what they were trying to do, because I had to be depicted in a billboard. Someone had to know that I was a farmer within about 5 seconds. But I was really upset, and I'm glad that, being able to share your story and your voice, you're able to come to this type of photo. But I stood up for myself. I was able to be me, and that was a campaign where I believe we raised over, I think today was, like $140 million. So I was very proud to have shared my voice, be able to represent agriculture in a way that was also me. So the second leadership or value that I have in my journey is showing up. And this photo I took, or that I'm sharing with you today, that a friend took, is a time where I started to share our mental health story, and I was quite nervous. So I'm not a speaker, and this was about 5 years ago, and I started to share. I had a slideshow presentation, and then the power went out. And it didn't come back on, so I was up there in front of my peers. This was at a Women in Ag event, and I just shared from my heart. And my friends were there, people that I looked up to, and they cheered for me. And it was such an encouraging moment, a very supportive moment. But then I found out and I realized that there's such true leadership by showing up, even when it's hard, even when your voice shakes. Doesn't matter if it's at a kitchen table, boardroom table, in front of your peers. That showing up, being there, being present, sharing your voice, sharing your story, that it matters. Doesn't matter what table it's at. Being present, engaged, and committed to your journey really helps in being a true leader. So outside of being yourself, showing up, the next one that I've learned is speaking up. How you can make a true positive impact on those around you, in your farm, in your community, is sharing what's on your mind, sharing your opinion, what matters to you. So that's the What the Farm logo, where we got to interview hundreds of people from across in and outside of agriculture. We interviewed the CEO, I believe, of Burger King when they were sharing some mismarketing information about agriculture practices, and also A&W. To the right, I shared a story of a depiction of the differences of burgers, a lentil burger versus a beef burger, and how they each contribute, are part of the value chain, and they all do great things, that farmers with these different practices do great things. And that story was featured, it was picked up by the Calgary Herald. So just a short rant about what we do in agriculture, why it is awesome, our production practices, why it matters, and that got shared to the general public. And then the middle video, or this is a picture of a video, is one that my husband and I shared. It was our first live video, and we shared about our mental health stories. And I was same. When you show up and you share your story or your voice or what matters to you, that people resonate with that. And this is a time where it was at our kitchen table during our 16th anniversary. My husband shared about farm stress. I shared about postpartum depression. And I remember Googling. We weren't too sure if we should be sharing this, because I Googled, farmer sharing mental health story. And when I Googled it, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a farmer. And I thought, well, why is that? Why, we know that this is part of everyday challenges on the farm. We weather many storms. This could be one of them, but why aren't we sharing? And I thought, well, what happens, if it can impact our renters, if our rented land be gone, if it impacts our insurance, if it impacts our operating line of credit. And that's when we realized that there's a huge amount of stigma. And if we share, if just one person, if it matters to one person, if we can help one person and save a life. And when we were done with the video, we got so many messages from across Canada, from across the US, from people and farmers in Ukraine and in Germany and Australia, from all over, saying, hey, I've been there. I didn't know where to go, what to do, and this helped me be able to have the confidence to raise my hand and say, hey, I need help, or help someone that I know that needs help. So there is value and power in speaking up. Your voice can shape agendas, influence perspectives, inspire others to share their stories, and you can create action and have a true meaningful impact just by showing up and speaking up. So the next value that I hold near and dear to me is this looking up. So looking up, having a mission or a purpose, and it could be literally looking up to me. I have lots of angels that look down on me. My dad is one. He died from cancer a few years ago, but he was one of the most forward-thinking and positive and influential farmers I've ever known. And he was so great of having this overall vision, a vision of life, the vision of the farm, and he shared that with us. So it always helped me stay on, the right track and be inspired and know that looking up, whether it's literally to your angels above or having an overall mission and vision, can really help. Gives you hope, brings perspective, it elevates others, and helps others see a bigger picture. And here's a quote that he always shared, and this was one that the first time I heard him say this quote was when we were transitioning the farm, and we were on different paths. My brother was coming from Manitoba, we were just coming from Alberta, and we had different ideas, different goals, different perspectives of where we wanted to take the farm. And after my dad heard all of those, he said, whoa, kids, if there's one thing that I know out of the 40 or so crops that I've grown, this is it. And he shared with us this. He said, if you want to be successful, it isn't about how much land you have or the type of equipment you drive. It's about how we take care of each other and ourselves. And we took that back. And this was really, for me, not only the mission and the vision of our farm, but also of life. Because I love what I do. I love working with the people that I hold most dear to me, my family. And at the end of the day, knowing that I get to do what I love with the people that I love, that to me is what matters. So my dad helped build that legacy and helped us build a foundation for hopefully my kids and their future generation as well. So after he gave us that quote, we said, well, what does that look like? And we sat back and we created 13 principles or culture principles of how we work together, how we communicate. And this helps us, whether it's with our farm team, our employees, our business partners, all around, having fun, receiving, open to coaching and feedback, celebrating our successes, holding each other accountable, and being there for each other. So the other thing that has helped me through my journey of after having that mission or vision and speaking up and sharing, being at that table, is teaming up. And I've been able to do the really awesome things, and it's because of the people that are in my circle, that are in my corner, that are in our team. And I would say that Do More, we wouldn't have been able to launch it or create. I don't have any experience or knowledge in starting a foundation, but it was with the team of passionate people, that like-minded people that had the same value and the same ideas that came together. So building a strong team, building that your cheerleaders that can help you through hard times, but also those that can keep you accountable, that can really help you through good times and bad times. And for us, this is our Do More, our co-founders. So Kirk Myers, he was able to bring us all together. He had the idea. It was him that said, hey, he's a curler. And he wanted to give, through a calendar fundraiser, he had $10,000. And he said, I want to give $10,000 towards farmer mental health, but there's nothing out there. There's no organization that's solely dedicated to farmer mental health. So it was his idea, and Himanshu and Kim were the business behind it, and then I helped with the communications and the marketing. So same passions, different backgrounds, different experiences, all came together to help that and start that foundation. So my sixth one that I've learned is to never give up. And we have challenges in our industry, in our operations, and we might have different left turns, different right turns that might take us down different paths, but helping be resilient and working through that and having that mindset can help. Perseverance is key. This picture is our farm team. So this is, because my farm team is my business partners, my husband and my brother, but we can't be successful if it isn't for those that help us on the farm. So this picture was taken 3 days before my dad had surgery. And my dad brought all these amazing people together. This would be our lender, our marketer, our communicator, so our HR person, our agronomist. We got a business coach, and our input dealer, and we have 2 marketers, and I know, or we're missing our equipment dealer as well, that I need these people. And here I thought that they were giving us their business expertise and their knowledge and their experiences. But what I found in a small town and in a community in rural Western Canada is that when times get hard, these people not only give you their expertise and advice, but also their support. And in those hard times, they helped us. They taught me so much. There was a moment where I couldn't even really open my laptop after my dad passed away. And they were able to pick us up, help us through that, and we wouldn't be able to farm without the people like them in our corner. So I'm so grateful for them. Here's a picture of Martin Munchies. So this was a snack food that we built. We were in stores across Western Canada, and it was so cool to be able to share this experience and build something from scratch and be able to talk to consumers, talk to people about this snack food. But we don't do that anymore. So we at a time came to the crossroads of choosing more of our grain farm versus a value add. So I've had people, there was a reporter that asked me once, he said, well, would you deem Martin Munchies a failure? And I thought, well, maybe that's an interesting take. I never viewed it as a failure because this was a huge stepping stone for me. I was at a university, and it was a way for our farm to diversify. It was a way for me to come into the farm. And if it wasn't for Martin Munchies, I wouldn't have been able to talk to lots of people about farming and answer their questions, which then led me into creating High Heels and Canola Fields. And if it wasn't for High Heels and Canola Fields, I wouldn't have had the experience of talking to farmers and hearing their stories, and then having the idea and the people to rally around and create Do More. And if it wasn't for Do More, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be in this room with you. So it was, for me, a mindset shift. I wouldn't consider a snack food company that I got to learn from scientists and researchers and market developers and everything beyond. It's a stepping stone. So for me, not a failure, but just some right-hand turns and a really cool experience to get to learn all about what happens to grain and barley after it leaves our farm. And my last value or my lesson that I've learned is to keep paying it forward. I've received some amazing advice, lots of awesome support through my career and through my life, and now I try to pay it back. So I'm a marketer by trade, and when I started to become more involved in the farm, I had Alana Cook call me, and she said, I really I see you as someone who might be of that 12%, the 12% on a board. And would this be something that would be of interest to you? And I thought, well, I don't have an agronomy background. I'm a marketer. And she said, well, that's why. That's why boards and the industry need people like you, because you're different. You look at things differently. And having you at a table would just be a positive thing. So she encouraged me. I wouldn't have even considered running if it wasn't for her. So trying to always foresee opportunities and people who can make those impacts and trying to encourage them. So our 12% get to that 30%. The other thing that I've learned is my dad, he shared with me something when it was the last conversation I had with him. And even in that moment, he was always still lifting each other up. So it was during that conversation, I said, Dad, I'm not ready to take on this farm. I'm not ready to be a farm manager. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do it. And he said, do you remember that time when I told you that there was no role for you on the farm? And I said, yes, I remember that quite distinctly. Because I was wanting to come back to the farm, and my dad said, there is no role for you right now. And I thought, wow, that's some harsh feedback, but okay. And he said, so in that conversation, and he said, it wasn't because there was no role for you. There was a role. We could have made it work. We could have figured something out. But he said, I didn't want to make you feel like you had to fill my shoes. So he said, I wanted, if by giving you that advice or sharing with you that there was no role for you, I wanted you to go out and experience you. I wanted you to go out and try Martin Munchies, and try Do More, and try Sask Wheat. Because then, when you wanted to come back to the farm, it wasn't about filling those shoes. Because he said, you filled those shoes. You filled your own shoes, and you're ready to run. And took that advice to heart, because sometimes it's not about having someone necessarily tell you. It's about going out and trying things, but having those cheerleaders that are there for you to pick you up. And he did that, even in that last conversation of telling me that, I was always ready. He said, you've been ready your whole life. Now just go and do. And that was my dad. So the power of lifting each other up, we're stronger together, and celebrating each other's successes fosters empowerment and a great culture. So help each other fill their shoes so they're ready to run. So what I've learned is no matter what chair you sit at, what table you're at, where you are in the industry, that it's always about, for me, creating that positive impact, no matter where you are. That embracing your journey by being yourself, showing up, speaking up, lifting each other up, teaming up, having that team around you, and sharing that with others. Having that vision, it's about being brave in your own way, doing your best, and encouraging one another. That can really help our farms, help our community, and help our industry from that 12% to that 30% and more. So that's where we can break barriers, inspire, and create change. So for me, In the next year, I'm thinking about how I can make a positive difference on our farm. Maybe try a drill, maybe for an hour or two, hopefully not get stuck. But for me, it's always about what can I do to help and give back to an industry who's always given me so much through, the stories that I hear, the people that have touched me, the people that have helped my family and helped our farm. And it's through those lessons that have helped inspire me to keep continuing on and create positive and lasting change for our industry. So with that, thank you so much for being able to share, the opportunity to share. I wish you all a great year and even more so a great season ahead, and hopefully you get moisture. Thank you for having me, and all the best. Thank you so much.